What's up, fellas? Listen, I'm just telling you, I'm having so much fun with this thing. Out of all the things that I do to gamble on a week in and week out basis, this is my most important thing. It's moved all the way to the top. I think at the beginning I was like, this will be fun, but I didn't know how much fun it would be. Like last week, literally, you guys all took the Titans for some fucking reason, and all of a sudden it gave me a free game to cheer for. I loved it. Now I got my San Diego Chargers jersey on, watching Phillip Rivers charge down the field, ready to get me a victory over you guys, and then they can't punch it in from the. I mean, they had to review 2 touchdowns, and then Melvin Gordon fumbles at the quarter-yard line, and all my hopes and dreams are dashed. And Joe gets to go 3-2 last week, and whatever. I mean, so are the breaks. I'm still not in panic mode yet, but a couple more weeks like this, I might be, and I might start doing some weird things to see if I can reverse the trends. Honestly, I want to. It's probably gonna be the longest one I do so far. I had some extra time this evening to put together pre-production and a couple things I wanted to talk about real quick. I want to congratulate Mike and his beautiful wife Ann on Samuel Robert coming to the world. That's awesome. Congratulations, Mike. Thanks for the update, and thanks for the text the other morning. I really needed it. I was in a dark place at work on Friday morning, and that did brighten my spirits. I thought about all you guys are married, and I get to delve into sports a lot more than you guys probably do. I watch sports pretty much every day. It's a great time of year for it. There's always something on. Right now, I'm no music in the background. World Series is on. I'm probably gonna watch the Pistons game after I'm done with this, and then I'm gonna watch. If I can make it, I'll watch Tiger Woods somehow maybe win a PGA Tour event in Japan. So it's not that bad. And you guys all get to go home and have a lovely person to hang out with and have fun times with and things like that. Yeah, sure. But I like being alone. But I get to have my fun times too. I mean, when you're in your mid to late 30s and you have another woman that that's in her mid to late 30s, and it's not really a thing. You can still just have a fun buddy. And have her come over once in a while and make sure you're doing well. I think one thing that's going to be a permanent installation for the rest of the year here is because I know you guys are all basketball fans as well. Maybe not so much NBA, but you like hearing my opinion on the Pistons. So I'm going to do Pistons Corner every week. Tell you what happened in each game and what my thoughts were. I'll do it quickly. Obviously, Pistons start off on the road against the Indiana Pacers in a game they're supposed to lose, but they played with great effort. Really, no letdown in effort throughout the game. I like the defensive intensity. One funny thing that I think Mike could help me out a lot with is the Fox Sports Detroit broadcasts are so homer. It's so funny. I went into the game. I watched it with my brother. We're sitting watching it here at home, and I wanted to lay an over/under on how many times are they going to mention that Derrick Rose was a former MVP, and they did 7 times. Whether it was a stat or George or Greg calling him a former MVP, it was 7 times that they said former MVP Derrick Rose. So, gentlemen, if you ever have, for whatever reason, mentioned Derrick Rose's name, will you please just call him the former MVP Derrick Rose? I'd appreciate that, and I think Fox Sports Detroit would as well. But yeah, Andre Drummond had a great game. Not a huge Andre fan myself, but I mean, really, that's a great matchup for him. Indiana, no true big men on the Pacers. He's able to eat. Miles Turner, tall guy, likes to hang out on the perimeter. I mean, he can make some moves on the offensive end, but when it comes to just banging on the post or, who's going to get the rebound, Andre's going to get the rebound over Miles Turner. And, Andre comes on with 32 and 23. And, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Andre Drummond just put up huge numbers this season. 2 reasons. I mean, A, Blake Griffin's out, and he might be out for a while. It's a very ambiguous injury report if you look it up. He has knee and hamstring soreness, and he's ruled out for 5 games. That's bothersome to me. So there's going to be some extra boards to get. And he's playing for a contract. This is the last year of his contract. He's going to be eligible for the Supermax if he makes an All-NBA team. And I don't know how you're going to keep a guy off the All-NBA team if he averages 20 points a game, 16 rebounds, 2 blocks, 2 steals. I don't know how you do. I mean, he's probably going to make an All-NBA team this year if he stays healthy. That means he's going to be eligible for Supermax, and I hope that our Detroit Pistons do not take him up on that. Then we go on to Atlanta, or we're home against Atlanta the other night. You got to go back to back your first 2 games of the year. I mean, I don't think the schedule makers do them any favors there, and a lot of NBA trends go that way. Teams are X and X on back-to-back nights, and Pistons come out and they're a little bit flat, but I mean, really they're exposed. Trae Young has a huge first half. I think he put up like 26 points in the first half, and the guy was knocking down threes from half court. Literally had his heel on the half court emblem and one of his threes. And they expose the Pistons for they have their point guards can't play defense. Whether it's the former MVP Derrick Rose or it's Reggie Jackson, neither of them play defense. They make Luke Kennard look like an all defensive league player. So one thing that I mean, I know it's kind of weird. Like, we haven't had much to cheer about this team in a long time. I mean, it's been quite a while since the Eastern Conference Finals days or NBA championships, things like that. So I go into seasons and I try and focus on a few things that I want to see. And, my number one thing that I want to see this year is I want to see Luke Kennard. I want to see Luke Kennard look like a guy that maybe can make an all-star team someday. I mean, a guy can shoot. He can handle the basketball. He can finish at the rim. He's a smart basketball player. I think that a lot of people throw shade at him because he was an eighth or ninth draft pick or whatever in the first round, and he shouldn't have been. That guy should have been a back-end first-round draft pick, and that would have been fine, and now he'd be blossoming into what he's perhaps becoming. The guy's, he put up 30 in the first game, wasn't as hot from three in the last game, but was still making solid decisions. And, if I could, at the end of this year, if Luke Kennard's like in the, sixth man of the year race, or, even if he's just, a solid contributor, putting up 16 points a night, something like that. Somebody they're going to rely on. Going forward, at least you have one young piece that you want to hold on to, and that's what I'm looking for this season. Mediocrity, of course, is what's going to happen. It might be below mediocre if you have no Blake Griffin. If Blake Griffin comes back and he actually is Blake Griffin, then you might have mediocre +1 or something like that. All right, let's move on, guys. That's Pistons Corner, and it's over. So let's go into the normal. We'll do the games that I don't first, and the games I do. We'll stay home here, right in Detroit, where the Detroit Lions laid 6.5 points against the New York Giants. The trend here: Detroit 18-7-1 against the spread against losing teams over the last 26 games. Obviously, that would make you want to lean Detroit, but I take a step back and I look what's happened over the past week. That I think that the Lions front office has definitely decided that this is a lost season. I can hear everything you want to about, we want to play the young guys. Well, when you want to play the young guys is when you think the season's lost. And it's lost. And it's fine. We're used to it here. And, all the people are going to crowd into Ford Field and, get real happy when Matt Stafford throws for 300 yards a game. And I'm a Stafford lover. I'm not a hater. I don't think that guy I think he makes good plays. I don't think he's terrible. I think there's no reason not to have Matt Stafford as your starting quarterback. But that's the way it is. And I see this team in turmoil now. I got Darius Slade just saying he doesn't care if he's traded or not, things like that. I just don't like the chemistry there. So I'd lean New York Giants here. That Detroit rush defense is atrocious. I can see Saquon having a huge game. The Giants maybe controlling the clock a little bit. That play action pass game against with the Vikings last week against the Lions was just killing them. And I can see that happening this week. I can see the Giants winning outright, frankly. But I'm not going to take the Giants again. Let's go down to Tennessee, Nashville, Tennessee, where the Titans are playing the Buccaneers. Your Titans, all three of you, your Tennessee Titans. I want to see some big lumber laid this week on the Titans. They're hosting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Just on the surface, sometimes I write down all the games and I write the spreads down, just trying to figure out what I think the spreads are going to be. And I wrote -3 here. It's -2.5. So I think you're getting a touch of value there by taking Tennessee. I think these teams are pretty even, both mediocre, up-down teams, whatever, like you're going to have good weeks, bad weeks, and, you shake your head, and if you bet on this game, you're crazy. The trends would say, probably Tampa here. Tennessee 14-33 against the spread over the last how many effing games against losing teams, so they don't cover against bad teams. I mean, they're a bad team, though, so what does that really mean? So I leave it alone, like I said, I guess I'd lean Titans here. I kind of like the fact that, Ryan Tannehill made, Corey Davis and A.J. Brown look like, tremendous athletes that they are. It's amazing what happens if you get the ball to somebody on time, in space, what they can do with it. And he did that last week. I'll see if he can do it again, but he'll have to prove it to me again before I actually hop on board with you fellas and say that they're my Tennessee Titans. Let's go to Chicago here. Gosh, the Bears. Whew. Ooh, that was a real stinker last week. I was high on the Bears last week, and they proved me wrong. And the Chargers, I mean, they're better on the road than they are at home. I say it every week, but it's true. 8-2-1 against the spread on the road over the last 11 games. Well, in this game, the trends in this game would trend under, meaning that, this should be a lower scoring game. So I would be tempted to take the points. And I can totally see it. I can totally see the Bears being up 17-14. Phillip Rivers and the Chargers have the ball with a minute and 10 seconds to go. And, Phillip Rivers is trying to do Phillip Rivers like shit and gets them down to the 30-yard line. And then their kicker misses a field goal. Bears win, Chargers lose. But the Chargers cover on the road. So I lean Chargers there. Let's go down to Jacksonville, hosting the New York Jets. I just have to make a PSA. I am terribly embarrassed that I bet the New York Jets. It was one of those games where we've all done it. And you bet on a team off of spreads and you talk yourself into it all week. And within 2 minutes you go, wow, I am so wrong. And I was so wrong last week. Whew, that was a stinker. And this just doesn't look to be an entertaining game at all, fellas. I would lean Jacksonville here because I think Jacksonville, this season, when they've played bad teams, they've beaten bad teams and they've covered. When they've played good teams, they've lost and they haven't covered. So simply off that fact, I go Jacksonville here. I mean, Sam Darnold seems close. I mean, what the hell are the Jets doing? I mean, that's the thing. It's a poorly run organization. If you have Sam Darnold mic'd up on Monday Night Football, and the fact that Seeing Ghosts ever even got there is your own fault, New York Jets. Shame on you. So let's move on to Buffalo, where the Buffalo Bills are the 5-1 Buffalo Bills are hosting the Philadelphia Eagles. I have the World Series on in the background, so if I shake over that way real quick, that's what I'm doing. Buffalo 6-2 overall in their last 8 against the spread, which is a number I like. I can roll with that. That means they're overperforming against the betting public. So I would lean that way, primarily for this reason. Fuck Philly. I mean, what was that last Sunday night? What a fucking shit show. I mean, you got to be kidding me. You got to give me something more than that. I mean, that's a game I was excited to watch. And again, I'm like, I didn't even play it last week. It just should have been a good football game. And it wasn't. I mean, you made the Dallas Cowboys look like world beaters, and you're better than that. So until Philly shows me something where they're actually going to step up and play, I know they're injured, I know they're beat up, but I mean, you have a good coach, you have what's supposed to be a good quarterback. Make it happen, guys. I mean, and you should go on the road and you should win this game this week. But I'll go Buffalo here, lean Buffalo. Let's go out to Houston, where the Houston Texans are hosting the Las Vegas Raiders. And, trends I like to look at, 5-15 for the Raiders on the road against the spread over the last 20 games. And then just a little common sense. Fellas, the Raiders haven't had a home game since September 15th. But I kind of like the Raiders as, mediocre when I look at it, So I'm confused. I didn't know how to play this game. Houston looked so good, and then they looked not very good last week against Indianapolis. The Raiders last week, you can look at that score and say, well, the Raiders aren't any good. Well, they lost 42-24. Aaron Rodgers just put up an epic game against them. It's going to happen against Aaron Rodgers. And really, that whole Derek Carr fumble at the end of the second half, and that flipped that game right there. That was a very competitive game in the first half. And then Derek Carr, just make that dumb mistake where I don't know why they do that. Like, why is that not coached up? Like, don't do this. Don't do this. Don't reach the ball out in your bare hand towards the goal line, especially when it's a turnover, if you just kind of flip it out of bounds and nobody even has to recover it. Like, you're not even giving yourself like the 50-50 chance that we recover it anyways. No, if it goes out of bounds, it's just the other team's ball. This should be coached up, and that drove me crazy. So that game flips right there. So I'd lean Raiders here, even though the trends would say otherwise, even though they haven't been home forever. So I'd just stay away, though. I mean, if you take Houston, that's fine. Let's go out to San Francisco. And I have no read on those 49ers, guys. I know they're 6-0. They're 4-2 against the spread this season. It's just kind of a gritty, grimy team without a bunch of stars, so not that exciting to watch. In that game last week, 9-0 in torrential rainpour in Washington. I wasn't impressed. But, what are they supposed to do? It's, raining cats and dogs. I don't know how you're supposed to get the ball out in those situations. That defense is good. That running game is good. I don't know if I mean, I like watching Jimmy G throw the football. It's a beautiful motion. But I don't know if he actually knows what he's doing. I don't know if they have. I mean, I like them picking up Emmanuel Sanders this week. I think that's something they need because they need to stretch the field somehow. I mean, because George Kittle's having a bad season to his standards, and it's because people can guard him because they don't have to worry about the field being stretched because they have nobody to do it. Carolina, I don't know. I kind of like Cam Newton being out. I mean, this Josh Allen kid has one, or Josh Allen, is it Kyle Allen? Kyle Allen, I think? Yeah, Kyle Allen. He has one of the best QB ratings in the league. He's been playing solid football. So a 5.5 number just kind of scares me and I stay away. I guess if I lean Carolina just because I'm not sold on the Niners yet, even though they're 6-0 and they've beat me in a couple. I mean, I've definitely bet against the Niners a couple times. So, I mean, we'll see. If you took the Niners, I wouldn't blame you here either. You know, very weak lean, I guess you'd say, Carolina. Let's go down to Kansas City, Missouri, where the Matt Moore-led Kansas City Chiefs are hosting the Green Bay Packers, and the Chiefs are catching 3.5. I like the home dog here. I look at it, it's an 8 o'clock start. I mean, I don't know what there is to do in Kansas City, Missouri, but I know that Arrowhead Stadium is going to be wild and packed. Packers coming off a big win, a couple of big wins. And I don't know, this is a little bit of bias on myself. You know, I mean, I like the Kansas City weapons. And I kind of like Matt Moore, even though Matt Moore wasn't in the league, you know, to start the season. But, I mean, you guys all have this guy in your head, you know, like where you have this unrational bias because of the short sample size. And I just remember 3-4 years ago watching the Dolphins when Tannehill got knocked out and they made the playoffs and they went up to Pittsburgh and they're supposed to get just mollywopped. I don't even remember what the final score of the game was because I didn't watch or I didn't bet on it. But I just thought it was very impressive that on the first drive of the game, Matt Moore comes in, they're on the road, they get the ball first, Heinz Field's going nuts, and he just carves them up for like a 12-play touchdown drive. And that's what stuck in my head, that Matt Moore can do that in a big spot. So maybe Matt Moore can do it now in a big spot. I would lean Kansas City there to take the points. We'll go to Pittsburgh, hosting the Dolphins. Guys, Pittsburgh's off a bye. Mason Rudolph's back. It's a big number, though. The Dolphins are trying to tank. Who the hell knows? I mean, God bless you if you take this game. God bless you if you watch this game. I will not be watching. I don't. There's no reason to watch this game. So I skip. Let's go on to the games that I do. And we will start off in Atlanta, Georgia, where, I mean, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but then the photo that I got says that the Hawks are only laying 3.5. So I'm going to take the Seattle Seahawks and only lay 3.5. I will take the best quarterback in the league, in my opinion, and lay 3.5 against the worst defensive secondary in the league. They're atrocious. I think this would be a value with or without Matt Ryan. We're late Saturday night now. We know Matt Ryan's not going to play tomorrow. Seattle 5-2-1 against the spread against losing teams for the last 8. This game is trending both ways, that it should be over. So I don't mind laying the points. And I mean, Russell Wilson can just have a field day tomorrow. I mean, I can see them getting up big and big early. That Atlanta season is lost. And really, there's no reason to cheer if Matt Ryan's not in the game. He's kind of fun to watch, but otherwise, I mean, good luck to Matt Schaub. Talk about a blast from the past. Matt Schaub starting at quarterback for Falcons. Go ahead, take Seattle there. I like it. I like it big. Let's go out to L.A. We've got the Rams hosting the Cincinnati Bengals. Bengals look lifeless so far this season outside of the first game in Seattle, and I think since then it's just gone straight downhill. You know, I like Goff at home, so much better on the road. I've talked about it. His splits are ridiculous. Look them up. You know, and I know the Rams have kind of disappointed a little bit in the last couple of weeks, especially me, but I'm going to stick with my team here. I think this is a game where the Rams just get right. You know, I could see that. You know, I mean, the Bengals couldn't get, you know, the Cardinals off their ass a couple weeks ago. You know, so how are they going to keep Aaron Donald off their ass? I see Andy Dalton having a long day. You know, I don't like much about the Bengals, and I'm still a fan of the Rams, so I just blindly lay the 13 points there. I don't like laying big points like that, but I'm going to go ahead and do it this week. Let's go down to New Orleans, where I'm actually going to take the big points here. I'm going to take the Cards this week. Give me those 10 points. And you know, there's no good trends on this game, really, that I can look at that were sticky, so I stay away from saying anything about that. But the one thing that came to me earlier today when I was thinking about this game is that I could see the headlines, you know, once it say, oh, Drew Brees is going to play. All right, cool. That's a positive for the Saints, right? But I can definitely see the headlines being Monday morning. Why didn't they just start Teddy Bridgewater one more game? Because they have a bye next week. You have Breeze off of all this stuff. He could be 100% healthy in 2 weeks. And should have started Teddy yesterday. And the Saints struggle, and maybe they lose, or maybe they win close, or whatever. Or maybe Drew Brees doesn't look that good. And I just like the Cards catching 10 points. I think it's a fun. I'm not a huge fan of Kyler Murray. I don't know if he's going to be good or not, but I watched that game against the Giants last week, and I bet the Giants last week. And again, that was another game where I knew like 2 minutes in the game, oh shit, I bet the wrong team. Because those guys are having fun. Like, they like each other. You can just tell they like each other. They like playing with each other. They have some depth. I mean, David Johnson goes out last week. Chase Edmonds all of a sudden is Barry Sanders. So I'm just going to bet the fun team there. I'm going to bet the fun team, and I'm going to get the 10 points. I'm up 10-0 right now, fellas. So go ahead. Go Cards. Let's go to Indianapolis, where I'm going to walk right into a buzzsaw this week. I know it. I've bet the Colts almost every week this season, and they haven't let me down when I bet them. This is the double spread at 5.5. It's down to 4.5 now. I mean, Vegas is just begging everybody to take the Colts, and I'm going to walk right into that trap because of one guy, and one guy only. It is not Marlon Mack. It's not Jacoby Brissett. It's not T.Y. Hilton. It's Frank Reich. I mean, his game plans the last 2 weeks are without a doubt my favorite two game plans that I've seen all season. I mean, that thing, what he did against Kansas City and Texans in Houston the last couple of weeks. I mean, he had two different game plans. We just ate the clock up against. Indianapolis Colts are my adopted team right now. Ate up the clock against the Chiefs. Ran it down their throats. Old school football. Keep Pat Mahomes off the field. Whatever. We're going to bust his ankle up. We're going to play nasty. That defense is nasty. I like Justin Houston. He's playing with a purpose. He's like, I want to play in Kansas City for the rest of my life, but now I'm going to be a Colt and fuck you up this week. I loved it. And, last week against, they open it up a little bit last week. We get some big splash plays last week. We get some pressure on the quarterback. We make lots of move around. We create turnovers. His game planning has been awesome. I think Frank Reich is a coach we're going to see for a long time in this league. Get used to his name. Get used to him, being on winning football teams. I mean, that's a good coach. It's a good organization. I mean, they seem like they're on the right track, and I'm just going to ride the wave. I'm probably going to walk into one this week. The Broncos getting 5.5. I mean, everybody, I don't know. It's a sucker spread, the devil spread that I shouldn't lay the 5.5, but I'm going to say the Colts overcome it, and Frank Reich, that's my boy. Go Frank! They score touchdowns, too. Don't kick field goals because their kicker's 47, so they only kick field goals from the perfect range. Anyhow, stop me now. I'm going to take the Cleveland Browns plus the 12.5 points. I'm going to bet against the trend. New England 21-6 against the spread versus losing teams. Yeah, I know. I'm going to bet against the coaching matchup. Bill Belichick, greatest football coach in the history of the game, versus Freddie Soup Kitchens, somebody who's not going to have a job for a long time. But the last thing I did in my pre-production was I looked at the weather for tomorrow afternoon, whatever it is. No, it's the 19th. And we're looking at heavy rain and 22-mile-an-hour winds. So in that situation, it just screams take the points. So I'm going to close my eyes. Take the points, take the Browns. Hope that off the bye week, they said, Baker, when you drop back to pass, don't just drift to the right, because that's where the pass rush is coming from, because you do it every fucking week. Don't drift to the right. You get sacked over there. Maybe they give something Baker. If they give him some quick outlets, so we can get some confidence going. And honestly, I would love the stat line at the end of the day for the Browns. Win, lose, or draw. I mean, if it's going to be rainy and nasty, you have the best running back on the field. You have Nick Chubb. I'd like to see Nick Chubb touch the ball 33 times. It's like Chubb, 33 carries for 110 yards and a couple scores. Like, the Browns did their job and they had a game plan. Baker Mayfield is 10 for 14 for 130 with a couple of scrambles and maybe one touchdown. Don't turn the ball over. Then I'm going to cover. I mean, the plus 12.5 will hit there. Guys, that's it. That's all I got. Let me know what you think, and I will see you next week.